Most digital nomad visas are glorified tourist permits. 1 year, maybe two, then you're out, with no permanent residence or citizenship track. But these 11 countries built something different. Actual settlement pipelines from initial remote work permit to passport. And most nomads have no idea they exist. Let's start with the fastest. Armenia introduced a dedicated IT residence permit in 2019 to build its technology sector by targeting remote workers and freelancers in IT fields. You can obtain permanent residence after about 3 years of continuous residence, then citizenship after about 3 additional years. That's 6 to 7 years total, which is faster than any European option that typically runs 8 to 10 years minimum. You need to learn Armenian and pass a constitutional knowledge exam, so budget for language study from day one. The initial permit lasts 1 year and is renewable, with temporary residence possible for up to 10 years. Most applicants need to demonstrate income of just about 1,500 euros per month. Family members can be included with sufficient income and housing, and favorable tax regimes exist for some IT activities. Armenian citizenship also grants settlement rights within the Eurasian Economic Union, which includes Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Russia. Citizens move visa-free between member states using only national ID cards and can reside without work permits. The bloc spans significant territory, though implementation of mobility provisions varies by country. Armenia is the fastest path to any settlement bloc. Taiwan takes longer but rewards professional achievement. Taiwan launched the Employment Gold Card in 2018 to attract highly skilled professionals in technology, finance, engineering, and other priority fields. Eligibility isn't based on proving remote work. Rather, it's based on professional achievement, credentials, or salary history, which means you qualify through an approved field or you don't qualify at all. No single universal income floor exists because criteria vary by field and track. The initial permit runs 1 to 3 years and includes immediate work authorization. Permanent residence becomes available after 5 years, and citizenship requires an additional 5 years beyond that, bringing the total timeline to 10 years. Family members can accompany as dependents, and preferential tax treatment may apply for high earners. Neither Taiwan nor Indonesia participates in any formal settlement bloc offering automatic residence rights. Taiwan's unique political status prevents it from joining regional frameworks, though Taiwanese citizenship maintains visa-free access to over 140 countries. Taiwan rewards credentials. Indonesia, on the other hand, rewards patience and creative structuring. Indonesia's B211A is a 60-day tourist visit visa that remote workers use as a bridge into longer-term residence categories. The B211A extends to 180 days but doesn't directly lead to settlement. Holders must transition to a separate residence permit category to begin accumulating time toward permanent residence. Indonesia generally prohibits dual citizenship, and naturalization pathways are restrictive. This is the most complex route on this list. No fixed income floor applies to the B211A itself, though residence categories may impose thresholds. Residence permits are renewable for up to 5 years depending on the category you transition into. Indonesia requires navigation, yes. Latin America offers clearer pathways with faster timelines, though still not as fast as Europe, which we'll get to eventually. Ecuador adapted existing professional and income-based visa categories to accommodate remote workers between 2019 and 2022, rather than creating a standalone program. The income threshold sits at just $400 per month, and permanent residence becomes available after about 3 years. That's roughly half the timeline of most European programs. The language requirement for citizenship is basic Spanish proficiency, which is accessible for English speakers both linguistically and in terms of the proficiency levels actually demanded. Compare that to Greek or German, which require hundreds of classroom hours. The initial permit lasts 2 years and is renewable. Family members can be included with proportionally higher income proof, and some categories offer relief on foreign-sourced income. Ecuador moves fast with low barriers. El Salvador takes longer but asks even less upfront. El Salvador introduced a dedicated program in 2021 featuring a government bond requirement rather than traditional income verification. Applicants post a $1,000 government bond and pay a $300 processing fee. The trade-off is a 10-year naturalization timeline. The program is administratively lighter than European routes, but it represents one of the slower paths to actual citizenship despite the extended 3-year initial permit. The initial permit runs 3 years, as I just said, and is renewable. Permanent residence becomes available after 5 years, and citizenship requires 10 years of residence. But concluding Latin America, Ecuador unlocks something much bigger than, of course, their individual digital nomad visa program. Citizenship in Ecuador, Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, or Peru provides access to South America's 2 overlapping settlement frameworks. The Mercosur Residence Agreement covers 9 countries and 16.4 million square miles. The Andean Community covers Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, and Colombia. Citizens can obtain residence in any member state with only a clean criminal record required. These frameworks are underutilized by foreign nationals because enforcement is inconsistent and documentation requirements vary between countries and regional offices. The legal rights exist, though. They function reliably for those who navigate the bureaucratic variants. IMI's Guide to Supranational Settlement Blocs covers entry requirements, documentation, and settlement procedures across 14 settlement blocks worldwide. Check that out in the link below. Latin America offers speed and low barriers, but the European programs unlock the world's largest settlement zone, and several of them move faster than you might expect. Latvia launched its digital nomad visa in 2021. Targeting remote workers employed by or contracting with entities in OECD countries. The program offers only 2 years of total validity, with limited renewal. Unlike every other European option on this list, Latvia's program doesn't naturally extend into a settlement track, which means holders need to transition to a different residence category to continue accumulating time toward permanent residence and eventually citizenship. The OECD linkage narrows eligibility significantly, and the visa itself is typically single holder only, so family members often require different categories. The income threshold sits at 2,857 euros per month. Permanent residence requires transitioning categories, as we've noted, and citizenship takes about 10 years with language and integration exams. Latvia requires a category jump mid-process. But Italy demands patience, but maybe a cleaner path. Italy formalized its digital nomad framework in 2024, building on long-standing self-employment routes that remote workers had been using informally for years. Even by European standards, Italy's documentation requirements are heavy. Solvency proof is cited around 8,500 euros on deposit, plus annual income floors tied to national thresholds. And some fields require professional licensing. Citizenship takes 10 years, which is one of the longest timelines in Europe. But EU long-term residence becomes available after just 5 years. The initial permit runs about 1 year, with renewals often coming in 2-year increments thereafter. Family members can join with adequate income and housing, and tax residence depends on presence and center of interest, with standard taxation applying unless a newcomer regime is available. Italy tests commitment over a decade. But Spain offers a shortcut for the right passport holders. Spain's digital nomad visa took effect in January 2023 as part of the broader startup law. It covers both remote employees and self-employed professionals, and includes an optional special tax regime during initial years. Spain's standard citizenship timeline is 10 years, but nationals of many Latin American countries can naturalize in just 2 years. The income floor sits around 2,300 euros per month for single applicants, with increases for dependents, though practitioners report higher figures in practice. Local employment is restricted unless the permit explicitly allows it. The initial permit runs up to 3 years and is renewable for 2 more, bringing the total to 5 years. Long-term residence becomes available after those 5 years. Spain rewards certain passport holders with that 8-year head start, but Greece filters for high earners. Greece introduced its digital nomad visa in 2021, targeting remote employees and self-employed professionals working for non-Greek clients. The income requirement starts at 3,500 euros per month, with increases for dependents. That's significantly higher than most European options. The language requirement at the citizenship stage is demanding, and even applicants with Romance language backgrounds struggle with Greek certification. The initial permit lasts 1 year and is renewable within the standard residence framework, often in 2-year blocks. Permanent residence becomes available after 5 years of continuous legal residence, and citizenship requires roughly 7 years or more. Portugal has built the most straightforward European settlement route. They launched the D8 in October 2022, creating a formal remote work category within its residency framework. The program targets employees with at least 1-year contracts and self-employed professionals with ongoing client relationships. The D8 slots directly into Portugal's existing 5-year residence to citizenship track, making it one of the more straightforward European settlement routes for remote workers. Parliament is revising aspects of the citizenship law, of course, so timelines may shift. Initial validity runs 1 to 2 years, renewable up to 5 years total. Permanent residence becomes available after 5 years, and citizenship follows with A2 Portuguese proficiency. Family members can accompany or join later, and newcomer tax incentives and treaty relief may be available. Portugal also participates in the CPLP, which offers preferential mobility between Portuguese-speaking nations, including Brazil, Angola, Mozambique, and Cape Verde. Germany offers something even more rare: indefinite renewal. Germany's freelance residence permit has existed for decades, but it became a de facto digital nomad route in the late 2010s as remote work normalized. Unlike purpose-built nomad visas, this is a standard self-employment category that works exceptionally well for location-independent professionals. The permit renews indefinitely, as long as you have qualifying freelance activity. There's no 2-year cap, no forced exit, or category transition required. Germany is Germany, which means documentation requirements are heavy. Some liberal professions require licensing, and you'll need to convince a case officer that your income is sufficient. No fixed legal floor exists, but most applicants succeed with around 2,500 euros per month, backed by contracts, invoices, and bank statements. Permanent residence becomes available after about 5 years of continuous qualifying residence. Then citizenship takes 8 years, dropping to 6 with an approved integration course. If you exceed 183 days or establish your center of vital interests in Germany, you become a tax resident with standard progressive rates. Germany offers the most reliable long-term structure in Europe, and every European program on this list unlocks the same thing. Citizenship in any of these European countries doesn't give you one passport. It gives you settlement rights across an entire bloc, the right to live, work, and establish businesses freely in all 27 European Union member states, plus Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway without any permits or visa requirements. That's over 450 million people across 31 countries. That's why these programs command the attention they do. The German, Portuguese, and Spanish passport is not just access to one country, it's access to 30 or 31. IMI's Digital Nomad Visa Guide lets you filter and compare 50 programs side by side, with income requirements, whether citizenship is possible, and attributes of the destination country like weather, taxes, and integration ease. You watch this video because you're interested in citizenship. In the next video on your screen, learn which passports you can get in under 6 months in 2026, featuring industry expert and IMI pro Philippe May. See you in the next one.